Hi, my name is Rich Hanlon. I'm your Wild Neighbors Nature Connection nature guide. I'm taking a little walk in the woods behind my house today, just on the lookout for something that makes me wonder. Sometimes every little nook and cranny is worth a closer investigation. I found this hole in the ground right here next to the trail. First, I want to use a stick and find out how deep this hole is. It's only that deep. So this is probably a hole that a squirrel or a chipmunk, probably a squirrel, judging by the size, used to store some food that it buried and then came back for later. So let's look even more closely, see if we can find evidence of what kind of food was buried here. Aha. And here it is. We've got a couple of cone scales from the cones of a white pine. The actual seed is gone, eaten. So you can see little pieces of the pine cone. So it looks like it probably buried the pine cone in the ground in the fall. And after the snow melted and it could access this again, it excavated this dirt and reached in to retrieve the cone, and looks like it took it apart and ate the seeds from between the scales right here. Since the first thing that I found along the trail that made me wonder today was a hole dug by a red squirrel, how about we continue along the path and see how many more different signs of the activity of red squirrel we can find in this forest. Look at this. Right here on the ground, more scales from a pine cone. I'm wondering if there was perhaps a red squirrel perched right here, eating a pine cone, taking it apart, and then as it ate the seeds, dropped the scales right down below on the ground. This looks like a good dinner spot, and sure enough, more scales from white pine cones from the cones that the red squirrels were taking apart to eat the seeds. Here's another hole, probably created by a red squirrel burying a cone. Yeah, the hole goes in about that deep. It's kind of like the first one that we found. And sure enough, look at those cone scales. I just heard a red squirrel behind us. It may have seen me prodding around a hole that it dug, thinking that I was trying to encroach upon its territory. Let's sit here in place for a minute and find out if our red squirrel neighbor is going to approach out of curiosity to find out what we're up to. Take a look at the bark of this tree. You can see there's a sap flow running down it. And right here at the beginning of the sap flow, there's a little slice, kind of angled slice in the bark. And that is because a red squirrel very likely sliced open the bark with its teeth so it could initiate a sap flow and drink some of this early spring sap flowing from the red maple tree. Very often, if you look closely, you can find the little claw marks from squirrels on smooth-barked trees like this white birch tree. Let's take a close look and see if we can find some little scratch marks from squirrels as they have climbed on and off of this tree. So looking closely here, see there's some scratch marks going this way. See that? And then that way. So we have a lot of little scratch marks. See, here's some. You can see each of the little claws here from one hand. I think it went. Let's go take a look at one of the birch trees that's still standing and see if we can find some squirrel claw marks on those. Here's some. Right here. See that? A squirrel. Scratch marks as it made its way up and down the tree. I think it's fun to notice the signs of the presence of animals that they leave behind in the forest. I mean, the truth is, we all leave signs of our presence wherever we go. We all have an impact on the landscape, and we leave signs of our presence behind, even us as human beings. There's a reason why we have a lot of red squirrels in my particular patch of forest. You can see we have a lot of coniferous trees, the fir trees, the spruce trees, and the pine trees. We saw a lot of eaten pine cones today, didn't we? And we also have the feeding station. We have a platform feeder and 2 suet feeders, as well as the one, there it is, hanging feeder behind me here. So it's a great spot for red squirrels to live. And I wonder if you were to take a walk around one of your favorite patches of forest, what signs of the presence of squirrels can you find? Whether it's red squirrels or gray squirrels, whether it's places where they have hidden their food, eaten their food, scratch marks on trees, and other signs of their presence. What can you find? Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.